Jungkook was standing in front of the mirror, adjusting his cufflinks as he glanced at the clock. His deep brown eyes flickered towards you standing by the beside. Lost in thought, he sighed, walking closer. "Love, can you help me with my tie?" he asked. His voice was soft but firm. It was a small ritual between you both, one of the many ways you claimed him as yours. You blinked, snapping out of your thoughts, and walked towards him silently. Your fingers worked on his tie, adjusting it carefully. He watched you intently, then his brows furrowed. "From the past few days, you're acting different." Your smile was gone, you became silent and always seemed to be lost in thoughts, and no matter how many times he had asked, you let it slide, saying it's nothing. "Can you tell me what's wrong, love? You know I hate seeing you like this." You didn't respond, just focused on fixing his tie, making sure it sat perfectly. Jungkook cupped your face gently, forcing you to meet his gaze. "Talk to me," he pleaded, his voice filled with worry. "What made you lose your smile?" You swallowed hard, your heart aching. You didn't want to tell him, didn't want to cause more trouble in his already chaotic life. "You are getting late, Jungkook," he whispered, attempting to step away, but he didn't let you go. His grip on your waist tightened. "I'm not leaving until you tell me what's wrong." You looked away, unable to hold his gaze. How could you tell him that his own family, the people who were supposed to love him, were the reason for your silence? That his aunt had humiliated you, called you names, reduced your existence to nothing but an insult? "It's nothing," you mumbled, but Jungkook scoffed. "Nothing? You have barely spoken in 2 days. You barely ate last night. Don't tell me it's nothing." You sighed, still refusing to meet his eyes. "It doesn't matter, just forget it." "Forget it? How can I forget it when it's making you miserable?" His voice hardened with frustration. "Was it something I did?" Your eyes widened. You shook your head. "No, Jungkook, it's not you. It's complicated." He frowned, his grip on your waist loosening but not letting go. "Then explain it to me. I can handle complicated." You hesitated but looked at his worried eyes. "Jungkook loves you more than anyone else in the world. Your life had been full of struggles. You were an orphan, alone and unwanted. One day your worst fear came true when cruel men captured you, planning to sell you like an object. You had no hope, no one to save you, but then Jungkook appeared like a miracle. He fought for you, rescued you from that nightmare, and gave you a new life. He didn't just save you, he stayed. He helped you heal, stood beside you when you were weak, and taught you how to be strong again. You never thought love was meant for you, but with Jungkook it felt natural. He loved you with a devotion so deep that it felt unbreakable, and when he asked you to be his wife, it was the happiest moment of your life. Now you were his wife, the most precious part of his life. He never let a day go by without showing you just how much you meant to him. But not everyone in his family shared his love for you. Some saw you as an outsider, someone who didn't belong by his side. Their words were like knives cutting deep, trying to break you. But Jungkook, he had always been there, ready to fight the world for you. And today, they had taken away your smile. "I don't want to burden you," you said, looking away while his jaw clenched. "Burden me, love? You are the most precious thing in my life. Nothing about you is a burden." Tears pricked your eyes at his words. You hate hiding things from him, but you were aware of his anger. He never spared anyone if they tried to hurt you, and his relation is not so good with his family, so you didn't want to burden him. Jungkook noticed and his expression softened. He cupped your cheek. "Please talk to me. Was it my family? Tell me. Did they do anything? Say anything to you? You are upset ever since you visit them." Your breath hitched. The moment he said those words, your silence became the answer. His eyes darkened. "So they are the reason. I would have known. What did they do?" "Jungkook," you murmured, trying to stop him before he got angry. "Who was it?" His voice turned dangerously low. Jungkook, it's not important. You tried again, but he wasn't having it. Wyan, if you love me, then you'll tell me. Tell me who made you feel this way. Who is the reason your smile is gone? You swallowed as your heart clenched. You knew it won't be good to hide the truth from him anymore. He already knew and will turn the whole family upside down if you didn't tell him exactly who hurt you. You exhaled shakily. Your aunt, she said some things. His hands clenched into fists. Rika, what things? What did she say? You hesitated before whispering. She called me a personal plaything. She said I did some black magic on you and... You didn't finish the sentence. Jungkook's entire body tensed. His jaw tightened and a dangerous fire lit in his eyes. She said, what? Jungkook, please, just let it go. I know she doesn't like me and she tried to bring me down. Let it go. He cut you off. She insulted my wife, humiliated you, and you expect me to let it go? How could you just stand there and listen to all that? You're my wife, Ian, John Jungkook's wife. Do you know what that means? You placed a hand on his chest, feeling his rapid heartbeat. I don't want you to fight with your family because of me. His expression softened, but the anger didn't leave his eyes. You think this is about family? About some petty argument? No, Wayne. This is about respect. This is about the fact that they think they can treat you like this and walk away unscathed. Your fingers curled against the fabric of his shirt as you struggled to find the right words. I just want peace, Jungkook. His nostrils flared as he exhaled sharply. His frustration was evident. And I want to protect you. Do you even realize how much it kills me to know you stood there and took that? That you still think staying quiet is the answer? You flinched slightly at the raw emotion in his voice and he noticed. His anger shifted into something softer, something more painful. Wyan, you're still afraid, aren't you? His voice lowered, his fingers gently tilting your chin up so you had no choice but to look at him. You swallowed hard, unable to answer. You didn't have to. He already knew. Jungkook's expression darkened. His eyes filled with something heavy, something that made your chest ache. I have been by your side all this time, fighting for you, standing up for you, but you still don't believe you deserve it, do you? Your eyes stung as you whispered, it's not that, I don't want to make things worse. His hand slid down to your waist, gripping you firmly as he pulled you flush against him. No, love, what's worse is seeing you take this, seeing you lower your head when you shouldn't have to. He exhaled, his forehead resting against yours. You don't have to fight alone, you never did. You closed your eyes, letting yourself melt into his touch, into his warmth, into the one place that had always felt like home. She said I was nothing before you, that I don't deserve to be here, that I'm just some orphan you picked up and married out of pity. You finally let those words out. Jungkook's entire body stiffened, his jaw clenched so tightly you thought he might break his teeth. A storm brewed in his dark eyes, his chest rising and falling with measured breaths as he tried to contain the fury threatening to spill over. I'm not letting this go. You pulled back knowing he's damn angry. You reached out grasping his wrist before he could do anything reckless. But he was already pulling out his phone, his fingers moving swiftly over the screen. Jungkook, what are you doing? No, Wayne, this ends today. They have no right to talk about you like that. You are my wife, my everything, and they will respect you. But no more buts. He silenced you with a look, his thumb grazing your cheek. I let them get away with too much already, not anymore. Before you could stop him, he had already made the call. Gather the family now. The line went dead as he ended the call without waiting for a response. He swallowed hard, your fingers curling into his shirt. Jungkook, confronting them won't change anything. It will, because they need to understand that you are not someone they can look down on. His arm encircled you, his hold protective, unwavering. I'm sorry, love. I should have protected you from this, but I promise you, after today, no one will ever dare say a word against you again. You wanted to believe him, wanted to trust that his love alone could shield you from this cruelty, but deep down you knew this wasn't just about love, this was war. The tension in the grand living room was suffocating. Jungkook's family sat stiffly, their gazes wary. His aunt, the woman who had insulted you, sat at the center, her expression smug, utterly unaware of the storm that was about to crash down upon her. The moment Jungkook and you stepped inside, the room fell into an uncomfortable silence. His aunt finally spoke, a mocking lilt to her tone. Why did you tell all of us to gather here? What is it about, Jungkook? Jungkook's blood boiled, even more by hearing her voice. You know exactly what this is about, she scoffed. How would I know? Then she looked at you. If this is about that orphan... Say another word. Jungkook interrupted, his voice like ice. And you won't have a place in this house anymore. She visibly flinched but quickly masked it with defiance. I was only stating facts. She was nothing before you. You made her. Jungkook took a slow, deliberate step forward, his tone deadly. No, she made herself. I was just lucky enough to love her. His words stole your breath. He wasn't just defending you, he was acknowledging your worth, not as his wife, but as a person who existed beyond him. His aunt, however, was unmoved. You are letting love cloud your judgment, Jungkook. You are forgetting where you come from. His jaw clenched. And you are forgetting whose roof you are living under. The one I provide. The one I can take away at any moment. Do not mistake my patience for weakness. His uncle, who had remained silent until now, shifted uncomfortably. Jungkook, there's no need to. There is every need, he said, cutting him off. I have let too much slide, but I won't tolerate disrespect towards my wife. You don't have to like her, but you will respect her. His aunt scoffed. Respect for someone like her? You expect me to apologize? Jungkook ordered, his tone final. She looked at him in disbelief. What? You want me to apologize to her? You can't be serious. I'm dead serious. Apologize now. She looked at you as if want to say more things to you, but she knew she will have to face consequences even more. And if I don't? Jungkook's lips curled into a smirk, but there was nothing amused about it. Then leave. You and everyone else who shares your mindset walk out of this house and never step foot in it again, because I will not tolerate another second of your arrogance under my roof. Gasps filled the room. His cousins exchanged uneasy glances. His uncle shook his head. Jungkook, you can't just throw family out over... Jungkook shot him a glare. Watch me. Family doesn't treat each other like this. You all love to remind me of my responsibilities, but when have any of you ever stood up for me? When have you ever treated me as if more than your personal ATM? Silence filled the room. Jungkook's aunt, now pale, swallowed hard. You would actually kick me out? After everything we did for you, raised you and gave you a family that you never had? You are so arrogant. Everything? He let out a humorless chuckle. You mean the years I spent paying your debts? The countless times I bailed you out? The way you used my name to gain status? Don't pretend this family ever gave me anything but obligations. She looked away, unable to deny it. Jungkook sighed, but the fury in his eyes didn't dim. I am done with the guilt trips. You don't get to insult my wife and act like it's nothing. Apologize or get out. She hesitated, looking at the others for support, but none came. Even they knew Jungkook wasn't bluffing. Finally, she turned to you, forcing the words out. I'm sorry. You could tell she didn't mean it, but before you could say anything, Jungkook spoke again. Say it like you mean it. She clenched her fist and muttered through gritted teeth. I'm sorry for what I said. Jungkook stared at her for a long moment before nodding. Good, now remember this. Next time I won't ask for an apology, I'll just show you the door. With that, he turned to you, his expression softening. Let's go home, love. You don't need to be around people who don't respect you, and also never tolerate anything from now on. You are entitled to show them their place if they try to be disrespectful. He gave them a final glare before he took your hand and led you away. You realized something profound. No matter how much his family despised you, Jungkook would always choose you. The night stretched peacefully around you, the city lights blinking like distant stars. The cool air brushed against your skin, but you barely felt it, not when the weight of the evening still sat heavy in your chest. You wrapped your arms around yourself, staring at the skyline. Confrontation with Jungkook's family kept replaying in your mind. No matter how much you tried to brush it off, the words still stung. A familiar warmth pressed against your back, arms encircling your waist as Jungkook pulled you into him. His chin rested lightly on your shoulder, his breath fanning against your neck. Are you okay? His voice was gentle but firm, as if he wouldn't accept a half-truth from you. You hesitated, exhaling softly. I should be. He turned you around effortlessly, making you face him. His eyes, dark and serious, searched yours. That's not an answer, love. You bit your lip, lowering your gaze. I just don't get why they hate me so much. I never did anything to them. Jungkook's jaw clenched, his hands tightened around your waist. They don't hate you, Ryan. They hate that I love you more than I ever loved them. Your breath hitched. Jungkook, no, listen to me. He interrupted. They used me my whole life. I let them, but the moment I stopped being their puppet, the moment I chose my own happiness, they couldn't stand it. You swallowed hard. I never wanted to come between you and your family. He let out a humorless chuckle. They came between us the moment they disrespected you. You sighed, pressing your forehead against his chest. His steady heartbeat calmed the storm inside you. Do you ever regret it? You whispered, choosing me. He pulled back slightly, gripping your chin to make you look at him. You're asking me if I regret choosing my happiness? No, not for a second. Your lips parted, but before you could speak, Jungkook smiled. Wait, are you actually worrying about my family's opinion of you? My fearless, stubborn wife? You frowned. I'm not fearless. He hummed, tilting his head. Tell that to the woman who didn't even blink when I warned my aunt to leave my house. I thought you would grab the popcorn and enjoy the show. A surprised laugh escaped you, and Jungkook's smirk widened. Ah, there it is. There what is? You asked, confused. Your smile. He poked your cheek teasingly. I was worried you would stay grumpy all night. That would have ruined my plan of kissing you senseless. Your face heated instantly. Jungkook. He laughed, leaning in until your noses almost touched. What? I was just stating facts. You tried to glare at him, but the warmth in his eyes melted every ounce of your resistance. Instead, you sighed dramatically. You are insufferable. And yet you married me. He shot back grinning. You shook your head, unable to stop your own smile from growing. Jungkook watched you closely, then pressed a soft, lingering kiss against your forehead. His arms tightened around you. I will always stand up for you, Wayne. Always choose you, no matter what. Your heart clenched at the quiet intensity in his voice. You wrapped your arms around his neck, holding him just as tightly. I love you, Jungkook. His lips curved against your skin. I love you more, but if you keep looking at me like that, I might just have to prove it. You rolled your eyes but laughed, finally feeling the weight on your chest lift. No matter how cruel the world was, Jungkook's love would always be your safe place, and that was all that mattered.